I'm Day, welcome to my channel. It is officially 2022 and I have decided to take the plunge and start a YouTube channel. My hope is that I can use this platform to connect with the reading and writing community in particular and document my journey to hopefully publishing. Today is a bit of an intro. I'm going to lay out my goals for 2022, which is pretty big for me because I haven't, as of late, been setting goals at all. Due to the current state of the world, I kind of had the mindset of disappointment would be likely, so why bother? Not sure if anybody else can relate to that, but in the spirit of being more positive and manifesting growth and the future that I want for myself, I have made some goals that I'm going to outline today, and I am booting out that mindset and laying down the law. Just kidding. I am just setting goals. This channel is mostly for reading and writing, but I do have some other goals that I have set for this year, so I'm just gonna throw them in because why not? I have 4 bigger categories, so they are reading, writing, language, and exercise. So first, writing. In December, I finished writing my first trilogy ever. But all 3 books in that trilogy are only first drafted. Kate Kavanaugh made a video a while back about her first drafting her fantasy series, The Meridian Maps, to completion, with the mindset that having the full story would help make sure that the things that were needed in book 1, 2, 3 would make the rest of the series flow better, would help in the long run. So I took that advice myself and first drafted the trilogy, which I'm very happy that I did because there are definitely some things that are in book 3 that I did not include in book 1. So we're already making progress here. So back to goals. In 2022, I want the first book in my trilogy, which I call TTYB or Project Grimoire, to be revised, critiqued, beta read, and then put out to query at some point in this year. An agent in 2022 would be amazing, but that is something that I can't really control, so I'm just trying to stick to things that I can do myself, like actionable steps that I can take to complete my goals. And while an agent is one of my goals, I cannot make an agent take me on, so I'm just gonna have my book query ready. She will be polished to perfection. Not really, but she will be good. Okay. My second goal relates to a new writing project. I have a high fantasy project in the works that is a very loose Snow White retelling. Very loose. And I am super duper excited to work on it. I've never written a actual fantasy novel. It's a lot of world building that I don't usually do. I like sci-fi because you have to world build, but you also have like basic rules to build on. But in fantasy, there's a lot to do. So the project itself is going to be big. I'm thinking a quartet of books at the least, which is also the biggest story that I've ever written. I don't have it all plotted out yet, but I do have ideas and it's really exciting. So goals for this project are to complete the world building, which I've already started. I've actually been kind of doing it since October, probably. I've just been kind of using like little breaks to work on the world building, and now that I finished drafting my trilogy, I've kind of been working on the world building a little bit more focused. So my goals for 2022, I want to finish the world building for this book, and I also want to do a series outline for the book like I did for my trilogy. For my trilogy, I made a Save the Cat beat sheet for the trilogy as a whole, like an overview, and then I did a Save the Cat beat sheet for each book, and then from there I took each beat sheet and did a chapter outline. So my hope is to at least have the full series beat sheet, and then maybe even the beat sheets for the individual books, however many that ends up being, but at least the beginning to end of the story, maybe without all the fine details, is my goal. Will I draft it this year? Who knows, but at least I would like to have the outline in place, so if I find the time or I'm blocked with my trilogy or something like that, I need something new, I have this ready to work on. Also, I need to name it, and I have zero ideas. I am so bad at naming books, I won't lie. I got to the third book of my trilogy before I named like what the trilogy is even called, and I named like the second and the third book at the same time because I had no idea what to name it. Yeah, it's Project White right now. That's all I got. The last big writing goal that I have relates to a co-writing project that is in the works currently. I can't say a lot about it right now except that it is super cool and the person I'm working with is super cool, and I am so excited for it to be put together and for it to come out. It's gonna be amazing. The goal for this project is to release it mid-2022-ish. Basically, we're just kind of going with the flow. We don't want to rush the process because this is going to be really awesome when it does come out. So we want it to be like the best that it can be. So next is reading. I won't lie, y'all. I read slow AF. It's actually kind of a problem. When I was younger, I used to devour books, like big, like thick books. But then I went to university and now reading just like, it isn't the same, and I don't have the same patience for stories, and I also have a hard time like carving out the time to read. I always think like, oh, I could be doing something else or I could be writing, whatever, but reading is important and I love books and your girl needs to read more. So that said, the unofficial goal is to just get back into reading, hopefully closer to what I used to do, but I do have some specifics. So my reading goal is 22 books in 2022. So original, isn't it? In 2021, I barely scraped by 20 books. Actually, I got 21 books on December 30th because my sister and I finished the series of Unfortunate Events together. So I got 21 books in 2021. So 2022, we're gonna go for one more, why not? I also have a goal of reading 50% of whatever it is that I end up reading in 2022. Coming from my TBR, I have a bookshelf here, I have a bookshelf over there, and I have a bookshelf over there, and there are a lot of books that I have not read. So my goal is to have at least 50% of the books that I've read this year coming from these shelves. I hope I can do it. I was inspired by Jessica Williamson's TBR Takedown series of videos on her channel, and I will definitely myself be going through and seeing, you know, the read to unread ratio and basically compiling a list of books that I need to read still, which I think I will put on my Notion just because that's easier. I'm also going to branch out this year and try a couple readathons or read-alongs, reading challenges. These are difficult, obviously, because I don't really read that fast, but I'm going to try. In January, I will be joining Cachet from Shay with the Hobbies and Chloe from Thistle and Burse in their read-along of the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. And then I am also joining Deidre from Shade Tree Reads and Bree from the Lockbooktician in their read-along of the Sookie Stackhouse series, which actually started Dead Until Dark today on my walk. So those are the two that I'll be participating in January, and there's one upcoming in February and then one more later in the year that I'm aware of. And yeah, I'm really excited to, you know, give it a shot, read some things that I wouldn't normally have read. And kind of push myself a little with the deadline. So stepping away from reading and writing, I do have some language goals that I wanted to put out there. I don't think they'll be like super relevant to this channel, but just to keep myself accountable, I feel like I should say them out loud. I've been learning Korean for a few years on and off. I would say that my reading comprehension is okay, it's good. My writing, not so good. My listening is also like, it's okay. My speaking is 0 out of 10, would not recommend. So your girl wants to fix that this year. So my first goal is to reach level 6 in the Talk to Me in Korean textbooks. I reached level 4 before I took a long break. So now I'm working my way back through the textbooks with the workbooks for extra practice. My second goal is to be able to read at a like lower intermediate level with relative ease. I'm hoping to get some harder books once I get back into that like level 4 to 6 textbook range. And my third goal is to be able to talk about myself in Korean. I'm not really sure that's like a conceited thing to say, but basically I want to be able to answer like the who are you, like what do you do, why did you choose Korean, how long have you been studying, yada yada yada. Like, it's kind of small talk, but like it's a little bit more specific. So maybe I will try and answer those questions now and then go back later and like try and write it better. That's an idea. That's the last of my language goals. I just wanted to put them out there. Somebody come for me in the comments if I never mention a language ever again. Make sure I'm doing it. Please help a sister out. Okay. On to exercise, which is my last category. I only have one thing that I want to talk about here. My exercise goal for the year is to be able to run a 5K. I have to specify a 5K outside. I can actually already run a 5K inside, but the treadmill and outside, they're not equal. I have tried to go outside a couple times before the summer ended to give it a shot, and I just get fatigued so fast. So my goal is to get outside and transfer that inside 5K to an outside 5K. I also picked the perfect season to start this because who doesn't like running outside in midwinter Canada? Anyways, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me, and hit that notification bell if you're into that kind of thing. All of the awesome people that I mentioned will be linked down below, so please check them out. And before you go, please comment some of your 2022 goals down below and let me know something you're proud of from 2021. Thank you again for watching and have an amazing day. Bye!